All right, guys. There is a problem in society, okay? I wake up every single morning and I tell myself, I'm going to love God and all of his creatures and all men. But there's a tension, okay? There's a pull between two forces. There's me trying with all my heart to love all of God's creatures, including the conservatives. And then on the other team, they're the fucking conservatives, okay? Who will do everything in their power. So just this once, okay? We need to be nice to conservatives, but we need to be very, very, very crystal clear when they are being fucking retarded, okay? So we're going to be crystal clear right here. I get linked to this message from my buddy, my dear, sweet friend who I appreciate and love with all my heart. He's a good man, okay? I care about him. He's trying his best to do right by the society he's in by making crystal fucking clear that black people are bad, okay? He needs those blacks out so that society can be better. So he links me the study. Let me see if I can get a picture here. And this is what he links. He links this picture, and it's like, look, when juries are making decisions, black people will let black people go more often than white people will let black people go, and it's a far outlier. It's far different than the amount white people let white people go, or black people let white people go, or white people let white people go. Black people let other black people go more often, and his theory is that this is an in-group preference. An in-group preference, if you've never heard this word before, is a dog whistle for we should exterminate the Jews, okay? We'll do a quick tangent here. What in-group preference means is that it is true, okay? The reason that it's useful, the reason that it's hard to defeat is that it is true, okay? Is that on average, in aggregate, you will treat people who are more similar to you across 1,000 people, and 1,000 people are similar to them. People who are more similar will generally, on average, treat each other a little bit better. That is true, okay? The question is, are they going to gun down in the streets a random guy and then be like, no, wait, that guy's Jewish. I should gun down a different guy. It's like a normal person isn't going to wake up one morning. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is that it matters whether it's like a 0.001% magnitude, a 0.01% magnitude, a 0.1% magnitude, a 1% magnitude, a 10% magnitude, or a 99% magnitude, okay? And the argument he's making is that it's a huge magnitude, is that this in-group preference with black people is really big. The real truth is that an in-group preference is two people who are already likable, you might like one a little bit more. Two people who you really didn't like, you might dislike one a little bit less, but it's not going to be a huge deal, okay? We are a great society, we can live without dealing with this. Okay, anyway. But what does he know about the study? What does he think? He's like, oh, bro, the Z dash and the D are higher for race of participant, black, white. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He didn't read this shit. So I ask, the first question I ask, I'm like, before I pull the study up and read it, okay, what do the authors of the study that you were citing, okay, because he's not citing a study, he's not citing a study, he's citing a tweet, okay, and the tweet is like, black people are bad. There's a huge problem where Black Panthers are terrorizing people and they're all letting each other go, and this is a big problem, and black people keep letting each other go. Now there's all these black criminals on the street because black people and juries let black people go, and we need to figure out what to do. Maybe we can kick all the black people off the juries. Who knows? Like, we'll figure it out. But we need to do something, but I'm not going to say what the something is, you know, which is another dog whistle, by the way. If someone says we need to do something, but they don't say what the something is, and they're talking about in-group preference, probably whatever the thing is not going to be good, okay? You're not going to like it. They're trying to trick you, okay? They're trying to be like, yeah, they're trying to get you to take the first step. Okay, anyway. So he sees this Twitter, the tweet author and him both say that this is a clear evidence that black people let black criminals run around on the street. The first two questions I ask, I'm like, what do the authors of this study, which is a trick question because I know he didn't read the fucking study, what do the authors of the study, why do the authors think that this is the reason that these numbers present, okay? What is the reason? Do they think, because it could be the case that more innocent black people get picked up in black areas by cops, where there's going to be more black juries, and more black juries are going to release more black people because of that. That's theory number one. Theory number two is like, maybe, you know, white people are, you know, black people are picked up more across the board in areas that are mixed or areas that are more black, and, you know, white people are more likely to disproportionately convict black people who are being disproportionately put up even when they're innocent, right? That could also account for everything that we're seeing in the stats, right? So my question is why, like, what is the author's thought on this conclusion? Not the data, but the conclusion that you draw from the data. What do the authors of the study think? This is a trick question because I know he didn't read it, okay? And there's a lot of other questions. That's trick question number one, and then trick question number two is fear the man of one study. This is the other thing I say to him. Fear the man of one study. I know that there is a reason that I guarantee there's dozens of studies about topics like this. Why is this table from a 30-page study, one table from one study with one row of the table is highlighted is posted on Twitter with no links to the original study. Does anyone with 1 ounce of media literacy have any guess for what could be happening here? That one row of one table of one study with 30 pages out of 30 studies is being linked on Twitter with no reference back to the original study, no reference to any other studies. Does anyone know what the word is for this? Okay, if you said cherry picking, ding, 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 you figured it out. Okay, this is what we call cherry picking in the industry. So, we have a cherry-picked piece of data. So this is probably the worst piece of data in all research that has ever happened. Okay, like how many? Okay, anyway, the most cherry-picked piece of data in all research that has ever happened. You know, P is 1% confidence. If there's 100 of these, we would expect one to be outside of the norm, but whatever. I don't know enough about stats. I think that's what that means. Okay, don't fucking quote me. But I know this shit's cherry picked because it's not. Secret hint, if you're on Twitter and someone links you a study and they don't link back to the original fucking study, okay? Secret hint, it took 2 seconds. Here's the link. Okay, look, race juror decisions, Mitchell, Haw, Pfeiffer, Mesner. Richel, Haw, Pfeiffer, Mesner. I don't know if this is the same study or the same version of the study because the author does not provide me with the shit that I need to figure that out. But I can search moderator analysis, and we could find the table that they're looking at, okay? So, I didn't even check if the numbers are the same. By the way, you have to do this now, okay? Okay, the numbers are the same. Sometimes this shit is just fake, okay? I told your name when I looked at this, okay? I'm like, bro, there's a 20% chance that this study doesn't fucking exist. There's a 30% chance that this study is being horribly quoted against the author's conclusions, which it is, by the way, that's the one that we landed on, and there's a 100% chance it's being cherry-picked. Okay, let's see what happens when we finally open the fucking study. What are we gonna find? Does anyone have any thoughts about what things, there's like 4 things that you could lay out in front of you. What could be waiting for us inside of the actual fucking study? Let's read, not the analysis, not any conclusions that they draw, not anything. Let's read the first fucking sentence of the abstract! Let's take a second and let's read the first fucking sentence of the abstract. Let's read it together. Common wisdom seems to suggest that racial bias, defined as a disparate treatment of minority defendants, exists in jury decision-making, with black defendants being treated more harshly by jurors than white defendants. The empirical research, however, is inconsistent. Some studies show racial bias, while others do not. Okay? This is the first sentence. Well, the first 2 sentences. I'm going to make super crystal clear about what's happening here. What are we saying? Some studies show racial bias while some do not. What we're doing, this study is a meta-analysis, so it's actually looking at multiple studies, which is good. It helps us avoid the cherry-picking man of one study problem. And what does it say? And I'm not going to scroll through all this because we're in right-wing conspiracy fucking schizo land, is that there's going to be a bunch of studies they're going to look at. The studies have different conclusions that they draw, different things the data points to, and we're going to see what does the data point to more frequently out of all these different studies, okay? The study that we end up looking at in our fucking tweet, okay, is the fucking most fucking extreme in this fucking field, okay? And I hate to say it, like, I love to say it. I lied. I love to say it. I love to say it, okay? But I have to kill that part of myself because I need to help my society heal. I love to say that conservatives are fucking retarded, okay? I love to say it, but I have to stop doing it. I have to win the fight, okay? But I need conservatives' help. I need conservatives' help. I need them to stop. I need them to stop being fucking retarded. This is so bad. This is so bad. If your grandpa, okay? If your grandpa is scrolling social media and they're seeing schizos talking about how black people are bad because there's one row and one table in one study with how many pages? Let's see how many pages. We're looking at 17 pages of studies. How many tables do we have? Dozens of tables, and we have one row from one table from one study, right? Like, secret hint, if you want decent analysis, like actually decent analysis, what you're usually looking for is a conclusion and then references. So it's like, here's the conclusion that I drew. Maybe they could say, the way that I drew this conclusion is by looking at data from multiple different things, and then here's all the different things that I looked at. Or like some kind of meta-analysis. Something a little more sophisticated than one row and one table and one column one time said black people were bad, so now I think they're bad. Also, it doesn't even say that. Okay, that's a conclusion. It says black people disproportionately vote to not convict, the opposite, release black people when they're on the jury, okay? We don't know why that is. There's like, I gave them earlier in the video, so I'm not going to repeat them, but there's plenty of reasons that that could be happening and that it could be perfectly reasonable, okay? There's literally 2 or 3 reasonable conclusions that I drew. There's like a dozen more, okay? So what we should do is we should actually fucking read one sentence. We're going to stop here, okay? Because what I did, what a wise man does, okay? The reason that I went into more detail on this is so that I can make this video. But what a wise man does when they see, okay, their conservative friend link them a tweet with a screenshot with no link back to the original study, okay, is that we've prepared ourselves, we're wise, we know instantly what's going on. We snap our fingers and we're like, oh, this is retarded, the tweet poster didn't read the study, the guy linking it to me did not read the study, and there's no reason to engage with this. This is all bullshit. We're gonna leave, okay? We went into a little bit more detail just to demonstrate the level of fucking retarded that we're dealing with. But we're good. I pray every morning, as Charlie Kirk would want me to, for the souls of these lost conservatives. I pray for Junaid. I pray for his family, his okay, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna rag too much on this one individual guy. I love Junaid. He's my best friend in the whole wide world. With a few exceptions. Udemy. All right. Let me just think of, there's one more thing I want to do before we wrap up. I'm losing my mind. I'm really losing my mind on this one. All right, I guess that's that. Fuck, there's one more thing I wanted to say. It's so important. I was on a great train. Fucking 10-minute train. All right, we'll kill it here. We'll kill it here. But okay, remember to love conservatives, even though they are trying to destroy your society on accident. Okay, on accident. They're trying to make it better, but they're really, 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 really vulnerable to social media manipulation. That's what's happening. Like, the real truth is that conservatives are just normal people who are slightly easier to manipulate using this kind of wacky cherry picking social media stuff, and they're like pretty cooked in the head. But hopefully, you know, maybe you can show them a video like this and maybe it'll help. But holy fuck, man. Holy fuck, this was bad. Alright. I guess that's that.